An hour ago, IGN posted a brand new gameplay trailer for Jurassic World Evolution 3. Now we're going to dig into that trailer very shortly, but I also have a huge amount of exclusive new footage on 3 distinct topic areas to share with you. Footage that wasn't part of IGN's trailer. Take that, IGN. Let's take a look. First up, babies. My beloved Triceratops. This little bounding animation is absolutely heartbreaking. It really reminds me of when my dogs, and Casper and Paris, I'll always love you, used to sort of jump around me for attention, looking to start up a play session. The babies are all really animated with this focus on lightness of movement, curiosity and playfulness, and I think we'll see that come through in basically every scene in this video. The Velociraptors are next, and they're a little less screamy this time, though still ominous looking with those gigantic eyes. We can see 3 distinct animations in this scene. The baby on the left is chasing its own tail, because of course it is, it has a single orange cat brain cell. The one in the middle is having a relaxing rub against the ground, and the adults are playing out the same social animation that the raptors have in Jurassic World Evolution 2. Given the amount of work already put in, I would not be expecting any of these to really change. Now these are all very clearly Jurassic World era Velociraptors. They've got that square jaw shape, the teeth go very far back in the mouth. My question is, will the Jurassic Park era babies have their own unique model? I can see how the skin system in general translates from adult to babies, but what about the movie skins? What about for dinosaurs with even more obvious separation between their body morphs, like say the Giganotosaurus? We haven't seen that play out at all yet. I'm very curious to see how they've handled that. One final little playful animation for the raptors anyway. This one almost feels like they're practicing an ambush, practicing a sneak attack, especially given the way the one on the right reacts with such surprise to its encroaching sibling. Mosasaurus next, with both a adult to juvenile animation and a juvenile to juvenile animation. It does seem like most of the creatures have at least one of each, which must have taken ages, quite frankly. It does go some way to emphasizing that sort of family unit sort of feeling. In the first animation, the juvenile swims under its frankly nonplussed mother, and then in a blink and you'll miss it moment, it attempts to have a little nip of her flipper. More of that playful curiosity. The juveniles do a similar animation together, swimming around each other in a loop, but it's speedier and nippier and adorabler. You can also glimpse an adult Mosasaurus in the background gearing up for an above surface feeding, likely confirming the return of the shark feeder, which we expected, but good to see again. Third up, we actually have a newly confirmed species, our only one of today, the Quetzalcoatlus. Okay, it was obviously coming back, but still. They've switched up the patterning a little bit here. You can see that the one on the left has now less colour on the neck. It's got no colour at all on the crest really, and it lacks the wing patterning that the one on the right, I'm assuming the male, has. That wing patterning is actually brand new for this game and used to further differentiate the two, along with what looks to be a longer and more sharply pointed crest on the male. The juvenile walks past and then takes off. Again, just very excited. We've got walking pterosaurs, fantastic. But we then get a really nice close-up of the juveniles, and they are in contention for my favourites in the game so far. That downy covering looks even more appropriate on these little guys, and their tiny head crests and awkward body shape is very endearing. They're feeding from the same fish feeder as the previous game, but this does make me wonder a little bit. Will juveniles and adults share a feeder, or is there going to be a juvenile equivalent for, say, our other pterosaurs? Now, it's less important for the Quetz because these juveniles probably aren't really any smaller than a pteranodon. They can feed from the same feeder from the same fish, but the baby pteranodons are tiny. They couldn't guzzle down the exact same fish as their parents. Our final set of animations is for the Tyrannosaurus Rex, offering us a view though as well from inside the new nest we saw the other day. It's loaded with eggs, and soon a couple of juveniles pop out. Get a little glimpse of a waterfall in the background here, which to me looks a lot more frothy and rapid than the one we saw in the first trailer. But really, we're here to look at cute new animations, and this is a great one. It looks like the parent is initially searching for their child. You can see them turning their head swiftly from side to side, as the juvenile comes bounding happily in with a little chirpy call from behind. The parent, then happy to see this child safe and sound, nuzzles them a little bit, and my heart breaks a little bit, and we move on. The next exclusive footage I've got for you focuses on the new maintenance facility and repair items. This is where you're going to manage your new ATVs and is a separate compound to the response facility. This one is all about how you repair your buildings, your fences, maintain your park essentially, and your response team is going to tackle those escaped dinosaurs as usual. Everything here is pretty familiar, except of course we've got this new garage style building, garage if you fancy, and automation settings, which means letting you control if the team will maintain and repair your park, or maybe you just want them on maintenance, or maybe you want someone who's just holding back ready to repair for emergencies, I'm assuming. There's also a really interesting scenery item here, these metallic struts. Now these are very similar to the ones on the Indominus Rex paddock. They're a little bit smaller of course, but we do have scaling in this game, and they definitely, I would say, open the door, if nothing else, to making our own version of the Indominus Rex paddock. And, you know, they're here for a reason, fingers crossed, maybe an official blueprint from Frontier. We also see the new operations tab, and actually we also see a brand new building here. It's not the focus, but we can see the marketplace facility, and it says it provides access to the marketplace where you can purchase dinosaurs, eggs and genomes. This feels like a fairly natural follow-up to the black market mechanic from the previous game, but expanded to provide both juvenile dinosaurs and apparently genomes as well. Now does genomes mean more percentage points for our dinosaurs, getting us closer to 50, getting us closer to that pure 100%? Or does it mean genomes like, say, you know, your reduced social need trait could in theory be purchased and then spliced into our dinosaurs? Could it mean both? I suspect it's the former, but you never know. Either way, they placed the new security camera, which has this arc of vision like your viewing towers do, and it's going to keep an eye out for dinosaurs attempting to break out of that section of fence. So you place these down facing your fences and then assign a capture team to capture any renegade dinosaurs. I love that we can actually look through these cameras ourselves, and much more importantly than any helpful mechanic, it's got a lot of potential for filming machinimas and fun little horror films in the game. Welcome back, Five Nights at Jurassic World. Anyway, the ATV heads off and fixes the fence, and the capture team automatically head on their way to trank the Triceratops. A little bit less middle management if you set up your security cameras nicely. There's a few interesting things here though. There are still ranger vehicles at the capture depot. I don't really see what service they're fulfilling now. I'm glad they're there because I don't want to miss out on, say, the Jurassic Park Jeep skin. But if the ATVs are fixing the fence and the helicopter is catching your dinosaurs, then what do these Jeeps do now? Perhaps they're a backup for when your helicopter's being used, because of course they're a little bit less efficient. Perhaps, and I suspect this is the point, they're mainly used for your aquatics and aviaries, because you have to send them to those facilities to then launch the drone, which doesn't really make sense to do from a helicopter. I'm also a little curious about these red lights dotted along the path here leading into the security section. Are they individually placed lights, or potentially a form of guest exclusion? A way to stop them walking into areas you want to designate as a staff area. Either way, the rest of the sequence plays out as expected, with the helicopter tranking the Triceratops and it being lifted back into the exhibit. The final B-roll is all about building. Initially terrain and first of all waterfalls, showing just how speedy and dynamic this process is. It really does look different to the waterfall we saw a moment ago, so I suspect they are going to be different depending on the map and terrain. There's a little terrain sculpting here as well, including the use of the ramp tool, which is low-key one of the most exciting additions to the game for me. I really love this increased focus on verticality. And then this massive archway of stone gets shifted along. Now you can probably build this yourself using the stones in the game, but we have seen the same arch twice now, so I'm assuming it's also included as a blueprint. So again, if you don't want to faff around, you can just download and use that. It is beautiful though. The fact dinosaurs can now actually walk under things like this might seem like a minor thing, and in reality it probably should be, but we've never been able to do this without mods. The rest of this segment is on the modular building system. We've got a bunch of building segments that a lot of you will recognize from Planet Zoo, and a huge array of categories on the left hand side. We've got blueprints, we've got building foundations, you know, your walls and roofs, etc. We've got fences, we've got planters, we've got girders, we've got signs, we've got fossils, we've got lights, we've got trees, we've got rocks, we've got furniture, we've got text, we've got shapes, and we've got aquariums? I suspect this is lagoon decorations, really, but you know what? I'm just going to keep an eye on this fishy little button. You never know. I'm going to let the rest of this play out. And I know what you're seeing will dissuade a few of you at home, but I really do have to emphasize how optional this entire process is. The game is, by default, going to provide a huge number of blueprints, and even if it's lacking a few that you've got your eye on, the community will have you taken care of within days of the game releasing, believe me. And it's cross-platform, so even if you're a console player, you'll be able to download any blueprints that I or other PC players create. The building system appears to be essentially the same as the Planet Zoo version, at least I can't see any major notable differences between the two. It can look a little bit imposing, and it definitely is at first. If you want to go back and look at the very first park I built in Planet Zoo, it was an absolute disaster. But it does become second nature eventually, and the ability to do things like scale items or disable collision is going to mean we can make some really crazy stuff. More than anything, the reason this excites me is I really think this expands the lifetime of the game significantly. We're going to be making themed packs and building sets for years to come, even when Frontier officially stops supporting the game. Now, Frontier are never going to release a The Last of Us style apocalyptic overgrown building set, but you know what? I bloody will do. And you would all have access. That's what I mean when I say it's really going to expand the possibilities. I've collated all the different decorations into one image here for the end, and this is just a small glimpse at the variety. It really is a humongous number. And a reminder here as well that if you pre-order the deluxe edition of the game, then between both of those sets you'll get about 80 or so new building pieces to add to your repertoire. And if you just pre-order the regular edition, you'll get another 30 or so. Now that's it for my bonus footage, but we do need to talk about the trailer itself a little bit as well. There's only a few things I want to focus on. A lot of the footage is the same as the Friday trailer, but this isn't though. The official reveal of the petting zoo. The gentle giants are finally in the game, with this adorable baby Triceratops being pet by our guests. It looks like it's been contained by a teeny tiny fence, and it really does look to be part of the park itself. You can see guests sitting down at tables and benches nearby. We finally have the technology. Now this is all very cute, but I am curious how it works. Can we manually create them? Is it a placeable attraction which we then transport our juveniles into? I suspect it's the latter. I suspect it's a ready-made attraction that you place down, and then maybe it's got slots for juvenile dinosaurs that can then be transported into that area. We'll have to wait and see. A lot of the other trailer stuff is similar mechanically to what we've seen, but we do get to see the nesting area in action. Interestingly, there's a little paint icon here which suggests you can colour the nest a different colour. It could be the rocks to help it blend into the mountainside, or it could be the foliage to make it more appropriate for the environment. Maybe both. Either way, you can see the number of eggs, how long until they hatch, whether the nest is currently occupied, the dinosaur that's inside, and the size of the nest. There's bonuses to entertainment reputation. Now security is also back as a reputation, but science has been replaced by conservation this time around. And there's even a tab to go check on the mother and father of the clutch. The fact it's been claimed, this nest, does make me wonder if they'll be limited to one parent unit, and if each breeding pair will require their own nest, or if once it's been used it'll sort of say unclaimed and they'll move on. One of my absolute favourite of the new animations then plays out with these two baby trikes tussling with each other, assumedly the juvenile to juvenile social animation for the species. Though that doesn't mean there's only one, of course. We haven't seen animations play out for two of the same family yet. For example, we haven't seen a baby Nasutoceratops. So it's hard to know if they're all truly unique, or maybe there's sort of a ceratopsid family of animations they can all pull from. Either way, I'm pretty sure my heart will not survive this game. More repeat footage here, but there's this glimpse of the building and terrain tools, again including my beloved ramp, and this new shot of the security camera in action tracking an escaped baryonyx. Now I don't think following them like this actually achieves anything really, but it looks cool, and frankly, that's all that matters sometimes. A little bit of immersion, you know? Now, of course, whilst all this is going on, the voiceover is talking about the DIN, essentially the new DPG, but with a bigger focus on parks and zoos, etc. This is the Dinosaur Integration Network, and it seems to essentially be a consultation organization that helps sanctuary and zoo owners bring dinosaurs into their facilities in a responsible and healthy way. That means we're likely to be building a myriad of different park types across the campaign, from full-blown Jurassic worlds to more eco-friendly sanctuaries and everything in between. And it's a novel idea, I really like it. It's out of canon, but it fits the park building aspect really well and a lot better campaign-wise than what Evolution 2 was doing. Although I appreciate they tried something new. Rather excitingly, we also get a glimpse of the main map and what looks to be the new campaign locations. Now this could just be a visual, but I'm going to assume not because that's less fun. For example, we've got Jurassic Park Japan, which of course we already knew about, but there's a new one down here which is based in northwest Papua New Guinea, a beautiful Pacific island which seems inappropriate for a Jurassic World, perfect for a more sanctuary style operation. I'd suggest it'll be similar to Isla Peña with limited workspace and a lot of brutal weather to contend with. The next one looks to be maybe in southwestern China, potentially the very northern tip of Myanmar, but I'd probably bet on China in this case. There's another one at the very northern tip of Africa. To me this looks like Libya, and I suspect this might be the new Maltese looking map we're playing on given the dry nature of the location, but also the coastal location as well. Just above and to the west of that we've got what looks to be northern Italy potentially, a very mountainous and probably a snowy location. This is probably our wintry map with close proximity to Switzerland. After that we've got one that looks to be in the middle of the ocean, but this is actually the Azores. A group of lush volcanic islands just off to the side of Europe and Africa. It's the kind of place that has natural beauty and landscapes that can often be very similar to the Five Deaths. It is also, like Jurassic Park Japan, a nice nod to the canon. John Hammond once had plans to open Jurassic Park Europe, and his plan was to build it in the Azores. At the very end, there's two more to the left hand side of the page, suggesting 7 campaign levels in total, unless there's any sort of hiding in South America or Canada or something. The top one here is almost certainly the Badlands of Montana, given the ties with Jurassic Park 1's opening scenes there, and the Badlands set of course included in the pre-order. The one below it is a little harder to tell for sure. I'm guessing it's either northern Mexico or western Texas, and I would suggest maybe more likely to be the former than the latter. Either way, to me it sounds like a varied, interesting campaign, and as long as the 5 Deaths and the new Rebirth Island are included into challenge mode and sandbox mode, I'm really looking forward to touring the globe and building these facilities everywhere, which was, as I mentioned, once John Hammond's dream. Of course, things can't always be this optimistic. There's an interruption in the DIN broadcast. The text, "Why choose them of," appears, and I'm assuming this was going to be "Why choose them over us." There's a flash of a red skull, assumably the logo of this new antagonistic organisation, before they take entire control of the broadcast. There's a bunch of species skulls here. We can see Brachiosaurus, T-Rex, Ankylosaurus, Parasaurolophus, what I think is Edmontosaurus, but I'm not absolutely sure on some of the others, and I'm down for some speculation on this matter. Let me know what you think down below. Now it looks like this organisation, based on the clips here and the voiceovers, whoever they are going to be working against us to sabotage our park just like we've dealt with in the past. They appear to be a straight up anti-dinosaur organisation who assumedly fear that assimilation of dinosaurs will lead to our own destruction, and so are dedicated to destroying preservation operations. I'm pretty curious about them, which is honestly the first time I've said that about any of the story in any of these games. They are a much more logical justification of sabotage compared to the nonsense from, in particular, Jurassic World Evolution 1, where if you ignored your science lead, she would try to set your park on fire. It was so illogical, but very funny. In the final sequence, they give the people what they want. Confirmation of a swimming dinosaur, with a Spinosaurus in its classic Jurassic Park 3 coloration careening through a lake. It looks fantastic, it looks very natural, it's got that slight serpentine movement, the water's reacting, and hell, even the colour of the Spinosaurus is beautifully Jurassic Park 3. Now, I believe I'm allowed to talk about this, but a bunch of us had a preview of this content already the other week, and I did get to see the swimming Spinosaurus in action in a longer sort of clip. Now I wasn't allowed to record this and we haven't been provided that footage, but I will say that the transition from terrestrial to aquatic looked really smooth and natural to me. And as a big bonus, the Spinosaurs will actually be able to hunt in the water. I couldn't tell if there was a feeder, but the impression I got was that the deep water will act as a natural food source for your Spinosaurs, much in the way your terrestrial plant life would act as a food source for your herbivores. Now the article has since been taken down, but the German article that, very annoyingly, leaked Evolution 3 on Friday evening also mentioned algae in the water. Now take that with a big pinch of salt, it could be a mistake, it could be a bad translation, but perhaps the same deep water could also be a food source for some of your herbivores, for example, your Dinosaurs. Regardless, it seems to have been integrated really nicely into the game, and I'm really curious to see which dinosaurs have been given the ability to swim, and which will see it more as a sort of natural barrier, a moat essentially, as we see in zoos. And even that has its benefits, of course, for exhibit building. My fingers are now as well, and of course my fingers are now tightly crossed that we will one day get ourselves some crocodilians. It would be a crying shame if we finally got deep water and semi-aquatic behaviours and the transitions and the feeding in the water, but no crocodilians. I beg. I believe that is everything I had to talk about, so thank you very much for joining me for this deep dive into the trailer and our new footage. Lots of very exciting stuff going on. I think it has largely been a hugely positive piece of news. The one concern a lot of people have, of course, is the species list. We're going to talk more about that in the coming days. But overall, yeah, I'm really looking forward to Evolution 3. Let me know what you think down below in the comment section. Throw me a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe for lots more Evolution 3. Years worth of Evolution 3. And I'll see you lovely folks very soon. Thanks for joining me. Cheers myself as always. Bye-bye.